A helicopter lifted into the darkness after 1 in the morning. Minutes earlier, the guitarist on board had stood on stage at Alpine Valley beside Eric Clapton, Buddy Guy, Robert Cray, and his older brother Jimmy Vaughan. He had survived the thing everyone expected to kill him. Years of whiskey and cocaine had pushed his body toward collapse. A doctor warned that continuing could be fatal. He entered treatment, learned to perform sober, and made In Step, the strongest comeback album of his career. He had been booed at the Montreux Jazz Festival, then chosen by David Bowie to play on Let's Dance. He helped return electric blues to the mainstream during an era ruled by synthesizers. His records went platinum. Crossfire reached #1 on the mainstream rock chart. And just before the end, he finally recorded an album with the brother who first inspired him to play guitar. The platinum records are real. The hospital warning is real. The clean toxicology report is real. This is Stevie Ray Vaughan's real story. He escaped the fear and addiction that shaped his childhood. He rebuilt his health, his music, and his future. Stay until the end, because the most unsettling detail in Stevie Ray Vaughan's story was already waiting for him 4 years before that helicopter lifted off. It was the date, August 27th. Chapter 1. The House He Learned to Escape. Stevie Ray Vaughan was born on October 3, 1954, in Dallas, Texas. His father, Jimmy Lee Vaughan, had served in the United States Navy during the Second World War and later worked as an asbestos laborer. He also drank heavily, and when his temper changed, the whole house changed with it. Stevie and his older brother learned to sense trouble early. That brother was Jimmy Vaughan, born 3 years before Stevie. To him, Jimmy was more than family. He was the first musician who seemed to offer a way beyond the fear inside their home. Jimmy played guitar, and Stevie watched closely. Drums and saxophone briefly caught his attention, but guitar held him. For his 7th birthday in 1961, he received a toy Western-style guitar from Sears. It was not much of an instrument. It was enough. School never held the same pull. Stevie attended Justin F. Kimball High School, but classrooms could not compete with records and stages. In 1972, he left school and moved to Austin. He arrived without money, a contract, or any proof the decision would work. Austin offered clubs where blues still mattered, musicians who understood it, and audiences willing to listen.
She my pride and joy. She my sweet little baby.
The music business was moving elsewhere. Stevie went anyway, but leaving Dallas did not erase the damage. The drinking, fear, and instability stayed with him. Years later, they would return inside his own life. Chapter 2. The Long Road to Double Trouble. Austin gave Stevie places to play. It did not give him success. Through the early 1970s, he moved from one group to another. He played with Cracker Jack, joined Mark Beno's Nightcrawlers, and later became part of The Cobras, one of the bands on the Austin club circuit. Each group gave him experience. None carried him beyond Texas. The important lineup began forming inside Triple Threat Review, which included singer Lou Ann Barton, drummer Chris Layton, and Stevie on guitar. By then, he was becoming difficult to ignore. He did not stand still and deliver neat solos. Notes bent until they sounded ready to split. Chords landed with the weight of a rhythm section. Familiar blues phrases became dangerous in his hands. Talent did not solve the problem of survival. Club work meant long nights, uncertain pay, and lineups that rarely stayed fixed. Musicians left, bands changed names, plans collapsed. When Lou Ann Barton departed, the group changed again. What remained became Double Trouble, named after an Otis Rush song. At the center were Stevie and drummer Chris Layton. Layton had to do more than keep time. Stevie's playing could surge, stop, and explode without warning, so the drummer needed to follow him while keeping the music together. The final piece arrived with bassist Tommy Shannon. Shannon had already played with Johnny Winter, another Texas guitarist who carried blues into rock. He understood the force Stevie demanded. With Shannon on bass and Layton behind the drums, the classic trio finally took shape. Guitar, bass, Drums. There was nowhere to hide. At clubs such as Antone's, Stevie entered the same world as musicians he had once known only through records. The venue brought major blues figures through Texas, including players connected to Albert King, Buddy Guy, and Hubert Sumlin. Those nights became tests. Could his playing stand beside the music that shaped him? Night after night, he built the answer. Double Trouble's reputation spread through Austin. Audiences returned. Musicians talked about the thin guitarist in the hat who played as though the instrument were fighting back. The wider music business showed little interest. By the early 1980s, synthesizers, new wave, polished arena rock, and music television were reshaping popular music. Double Trouble offered loud Texas blues and a battered guitar. Stevie refused to soften it. That choice cost him years. He was approaching 30 without a major album or national hit. Then, an invitation arrived from Europe. Double Trouble was booked for the Montreux Jazz Festival in Switzerland on July 17, 1982. For an unsigned Austin band, it looked like the opening they had waited for. Instead, part of the audience began to boo. Chapter 3. Booed at Montreux. Chosen by Bowie. The Montreux Jazz Festival audience did not know what to make of Double Trouble. On July 17, 1982, Stevie stepped onto the stage with Chris Layton and Tommy Shannon, then delivered the same aggressive Texas blues that had built their reputation in Austin. Some people cheered, others booed. For a band hoping to be discovered, the reaction could have ended everything. They had crossed the Atlantic without a record deal and heard open rejection. Stevie kept playing. Two men in attendance heard something different. One was David Bowie. Bowie was preparing an album that would become one of the biggest commercial successes of his career. Watching Stevie at Montreux, he heard something the polished sessions needed. The other was Jackson Browne, who was impressed enough to offer Double Trouble access to his Los Angeles studio. The boos had not disappeared, they had simply stopped mattering. Bowie invited Stevie to record guitar for Let's Dance. The sessions placed an unknown Texas blues player inside modern pop built for an international audience. Stevie played on 6 of the album's 8 tracks, including Let's Dance and China Girl. His guitar never overwhelmed the songs. It cut through them. Heavy bends and blues phrasing appeared inside Bowie's smooth production like exposed wire. Before Stevie released an album of his own, millions of listeners were already hearing his guitar. The Bowie connection was expected to lead to the Serious Moonlight Tour. Instead, the arrangement collapsed. Accounts differ over money, billing, management demands, and whether Stevie would be allowed to promote Double Trouble while working as Bowie's guitarist. What remains clear is that he did not join the tour. The incident has sometimes been reduced to a simple betrayal story, but the available accounts suggest a messier breakdown between management teams and Stevie's refusal to let Double Trouble disappear. That decision carried real risk. Bowie already had international power. Double Trouble still had no album in stores. The recordings made at Jackson Browne's studio gave Stevie another path. The trio worked quickly, capturing its live energy without expensive production. Then producer and talent scout John Hammond, who had previously supported Bob Dylan and Bruce Springsteen, helped persuade Epic Records to sign Stevie. The label wanted the guitarist. Stevie insisted they sign the band. He would not treat Chris Layton and Tommy Shannon as disposable backing musicians. After years of clubs and false starts, Double Trouble finally had a major label release. Texas Flood arrived in June 1983. The album included Love Struck Baby, Pride and Joy, Rude Mood, and Texas Flood. It reached number 38 on the Billboard album chart. That position did not make Stevie a pop superstar. It proved that loud electric blues could still reach a large audience in the 1980s. But the drinking had begun years earlier. The cocaine was already there, and the faster his career moved, the easier it became to hide the damage underneath it. Chapter 4: The Guitar Hero Who Brought the Blues Back. When Texas Flood appeared in 1983, popular music was filled with synthesizers, glossy production, and carefully controlled images. Stevie sounded like none of it. The album later earned double platinum certification. Pride and Joy turned a blues shuffle into a radio song, while Rude Mood showed what he could do without singing a word. Then there was Texas Flood.
All of the telephone lines are down.
The slow performance relied on patience, tension, and enormous bends that seemed to pull every note out of shape. One moment sounded brutal, the next could be delicate. At the center stood a battered sunburst Fender Stratocaster called Number 1. Stevie sometimes called it his first wife. The guitar carried the initials SRV and showed deep wear from years of use. It looked less like a collector's piece than a tool that had survived a fight. Double Trouble returned with Couldn't Stand the Weather in 1984.
I'm so funny with things I need it right. That it's hard not to see the blue.
The album reached number 31 and later became double platinum. Cold Shot became one of Stevie's best-known recordings, while Scuttle Button showed his speed and control. His version of Voodoo Child's Slight Return openly acknowledged Jimi Hendrix, but Stevie attacked it with the weight of Double Trouble. On October 4, 1984, one day after his 30th birthday, he performed at Carnegie Hall in New York City. He expanded the trio with keyboards, horns, and guest musicians. For someone who had spent years fighting for room in Texas clubs, Carnegie Hall marked an astonishing rise. The band expanded again when keyboard player Reese Winans joined Stevie, drummer Chris Layton, and bassist Tommy Shannon. Soul to Soul followed in 1985, reaching number 34 and later earning platinum certification. It included Say What, Look at Little Sister, Change It, and Life Without You. Double Trouble also appeared on Austin City Limits, carrying the sound of Texas clubs into homes across the country. And if these stories of music, survival, and the people behind the records matter to you, subscribe so you do not miss the next one. From the audience, Stevie appeared completely in control. Behind that performance, control was slipping away. Alcohol and cocaine had followed him into success. As touring became harder, they became part of how he got through it. The crowds grew, the records sold, his body kept paying. By the time Double Trouble prepared Leave Alive, Stevie's addiction had reached its worst stage. Some guitar parts recorded during 1985 and 1986 required repair or overdubbing in the studio. Now even the stage could not hide the damage. The collapse came during a European tour. Chapter 5: The Collapse and the Second Life. By the middle of the 1980s, Stevie's addictions had become a medical crisis. His health was failing. His marriage to Lenora "Lenny" Bailey was breaking apart, and Double Trouble had to work around his condition while the band's future depended on him. The pattern carried an ugly connection to childhood. Stevie had grown up fearing a father whose drinking could transform an entire house. Guitar helped him escape that world. Now alcohol had followed him onto the road. In September 1986, Double Trouble was touring Europe when years of abuse finally caught up with him. After a performance in Ludwigshafen, West Germany, Stevie became seriously ill. Severe dehydration and prolonged substance abuse pushed him beyond the point where another concert was possible. The remaining dates were canceled. At the London clinic, Dr. Victor Bloom warned that continued drinking and drug use could kill him. Later accounts sharpened that warning into a claim that Stevie had only 1 month left to live. No surviving formal prognosis confirms that deadline, but the message was unmistakable: stop or die. Stevie returned to the United States and entered Peachford Hospital in Atlanta, followed by more treatment and recovery work in Austin. Sobriety required more than removing alcohol and cocaine from his body. For years, he had connected those substances to performance. Without them, He did not know whether the music would still be there. That fear followed him to Towson State University in Maryland on November 23, 1986. It was Double Trouble's return to the stage. Stevie walked out sober, uncertain whether he could still play. Then, he played. The guitar had not vanished. His ability had not been created by whiskey or cocaine. Those substances had only convinced him that he needed them. That performance marked the beginning of a second career. Recovery did not repair everything at once. His marriage to Lenny ended in divorce in 1988. But Stevie remained sober. He also began speaking openly about addiction and encouraged others to seek help. The clearest record of his change arrived with In Step in June 1989. The title referred to the 12-step recovery process, but it also described his renewed connection to music and life. Tightrope confronted the danger of losing balance. Wall of Denial addressed self-deception. The House is Rockin' celebrated energy without returning to the darkness of the previous years. Then came Crossfire. The song reached #1 on Billboard's mainstream rock chart. In Step reached number 33, later became double platinum, and won the Grammy Award for Best Contemporary Blues Album. The instrumental Riviera Paradise revealed another side of his playing. Instead of relying on speed, it unfolded through space, restraint, and jazz influence. Sobriety had not reduced him. It had widened him. By 1989, Stevie was headlining Madison Square Garden. The most personal achievement was still ahead. Stevie and Jimmy Vaughan had spent their lives connected through guitar, but they had never completed an entire album together. In 1990, they finally did. The project became Family Style, credited to the Vaughan brothers. Stevie was making music sober, beside the brother who understood where everything began. The record was finished. It had not yet been released. Then came Alpine Valley. Chapter 6. The Hill Below the Clouds. On August 26, 1990, Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble performed at Alpine Valley Music Theater near East Troy, Wisconsin. The bill was led by Eric Clapton and brought together several musicians from the blues tradition Stevie had spent his life serving. His brother, Jimmy Vaughan, was there. So were Buddy Guy and Robert Cray. At the end of the night, the guitarists gathered for Sweet Home Chicago. Stevie was sober. In Step had succeeded. Family Style was complete. He had survived the addiction that threatened to kill him. After the concert, helicopters were arranged to carry performers and crew toward Chicago. Stevie boarded a Bell 206B Jet Ranger operated by Omniflight helicopters. The pilot was Jeffrey W. Browne. Also aboard were Bobby Brooks, Nigel Browne, and Colin Smythe, all connected to Eric Clapton's touring organization. The helicopter departed shortly after 1 o'clock in the morning on August 27, 1990. Other helicopters were already leaving. This aircraft remained lower. The night was dark. Fog and haze reduced visibility. Ahead was rising ground. The helicopter turned toward the ski hill. It did not climb high enough. The aircraft struck the hillside roughly 3/5 of a mile from takeoff. All 5 people aboard died. Stevie Ray Vaughan was 35 years old. Investigators found no evidence of mechanical failure before impact. The National Transportation Safety Board determined that the probable cause involved the pilot's planning and decision-making, along with his failure to gain enough altitude to clear the terrain. Darkness, fog, haze, and poor visual cues contributed. The helicopter had not exploded in the air. It had not collided with another aircraft. There was no confirmed sabotage. It flew into the hill. Toxicology testing found no alcohol or drugs in Stevie's system. The substances that had damaged his body and nearly destroyed his career were not responsible for his death. He had defeated them. The official cause was catastrophic blunt force injury from the crash. The manner of death was accidental. Stevie's father had died on August 27, 1986. Stevie died on August 27, 1990. Exactly 4 years later. The date is real, but it proves no curse or prediction. Stevie was buried on August 31, 1990, at Laurel Land Memorial Park in Dallas. His grave marker reads, "Thank you For All the Love You Passed Our Way. Less than a month after his death, Family Style was released. The album reached number 7.
It's hard for me to keep on living for my baby. Whoa, can't you see?
Later earned platinum certification and won the Grammy Award for Best Contemporary Blues Album. The brothers had finally made their record. Only one lived to see it released. A year later, The Sky Is Crying reached number 10, became double platinum, and earned further Grammy recognition.
The sky is crying.
Those releases extended the career. They could not extend the life. On his final night, Stevie closed with a blues standard about Chicago, then boarded a helicopter intended to take him there. The trip covered less than a mile. Ahead was a small rise in the landscape. In daylight, it would have been impossible to miss. In the darkness, the helicopter never cleared it. Stevie Ray Vaughan is often remembered as the guitar hero who died young. But that leaves out the hardest part of his story. He survived the addiction that nearly destroyed him. He entered treatment, rebuilt his health, learned to perform sober, and made In Step. Then he recorded Family Style with Jimmy Vaughan, the brother who started everything. After his death, The Sky Is Crying carried his music forward. Memorials followed in Austin, along with induction into the Blues Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yet the clearest symbol remains number 1. The battered Stratocaster worn down by thousands of nights. It carried the fear of his childhood, the force of Texas blues, the damage of addiction, and the sound of a man who finally found his way back.